It's now time for Energy Insights, where you get an inside view and local perspectives of all the oil and gas progress going on in the Mid-Ohio Valley. This program is being brought to you by the Southeastern Ohio Oil and Gas Association and can be heard every Saturday at 9 a.m. on local radio WMOA AM 1490 and ESPN radio WJAW FM 100.9 and AM 630. It's now time for the show. Here's Johnny Wharf, your local host.
Welcome to another edition of Energy Insights, brought to you by the Southeastern Ohio Oil and Gas Association, and we're joined by Melinda Johnson in an encore performance. A lot of times when we have interesting guests, we like to ask them back, and Melinda's with JF Deem Oil and Gas in West Virginia, and when we talked last, we touched at the end of our program on some of the things that we do locally in terms of the community, and I want to start, and not just because they're the sponsor of the program, but talk a little bit about your relationship with SUGA and what they might offer you and your company, and for that matter, the people in the industry.
I think organizations like SUGA, which is an industry-funded organization, everybody who volunteers and works, we're all oil and gas people who want to give back to our community. And for myself, just personally, I have to say I get educated on so many issues. I get to sit with people who are out in the world making a living from this industry, and they bring to the table what they do, and they are so willing to share it. They share it with people like me. I wasn't trained in oil and gas. I was a teacher in a former life, and then just started working part-time for a producer, and because of that initial step, I belong to organizations like SUGA, to organizations like Desk and Derrick Club, and to IOGA, West Virginia, and because of them, I have been given an education in tax issues. I've been given information on safety that, yes, have to do with oil and gas, but also about what's happening in my backyard. I've learned a wealth of information about how our government helps us and how our government guides us and often controls us. I've learned about laws being passed. I've learned the value of reaching out to your legislators and to watch what's happening in the government, watch the trends that are occurring in our lives and how that affects my future as a retiree, but how it affects my young adult children and, of course, I have to say, my grandchildren who are now out there getting educated and will be living the consequences of how we take care of the earth and energy today.
Got a pretty good smile on the word grandchildren when it came out of her mouth for the listeners back there. So you said something about your former life as a teacher.
Yes.
And here's this passion for educating, and yet it sounds like you've taken that, and now you have this passion for being educated. Yes. And I know that a lot of people in the industry have to, we got to take this CE course. We got to do this CE course. But there are some out there that you don't have to take that you're going to learn a lot from.
I work for a small producer. There is no checklist on my employment as to whether or not I've renewed certification, whether I've taken CE classes. But my industry offers all kinds of classes like that. I annually go to a tax seminar offered by our industry, offered by SUGA, offered by IOGA, West Virginia. Both of those organizations offer this class where I go and I learn about tax issues. I learn how to stay updated. And I learn what's happening in the world around me and how that affects people and how we need to work together to achieve and to live lives. It doesn't have to be a wealthy life, but that we can provide a good income, a good solid payroll for many, many people in our industry. I belong to organizations that are educationally driven And not only do they educate me as a member, but we raise money to provide scholarships to high school seniors, to students already in college who find out that a student loan really is something heavy to carry, and that $1,200, $2,000 scholarship that they can get from our organization helps buy books, helps pay rent for a semester. And I think those things, they're the kind of things that drive us, keep us interested, keep us focused on what's happening, and keeps us involved.
Melinda Johnson is with JF Oil and Gas, and certainly the industry glad to have her, and we are as glad to have her not only in this community but here on the radio program. Energy Insights for this Saturday brought to you by the Southeastern Ohio Oil and Gas Association.
Thank you for listening to Energy Insights, brought to you by the Southeastern Ohio Oil and Gas Association. Tune in every Saturday at 9 a.m. on WMOA and ESPN Radio WJAW as Johnny Wolf brings you your local and inside perspectives of the oil and gas progress going on in the Mid-Ohio Valley.